broken lines. That's what we're talking about today. So normally the line goes straight across. We have a heart line over here, straight line. We have a headline, usually ends somewhere there. The lifeline usually ends somewhere down the bottom, and it's usually a continuous line. So most people have these lines, and they do appear a lot. However, some of us don't have those nice, smooth, normal looking lines, and they're a bit broken. For instance, here is a sample of a floating heart line where it doesn't start from the ulnar side. We have an extra ulnar line that could be a part of a heart line, or it could be a part of the headline. But if it's not connected, it is just an extra line. Broken lifeline, we have talked about that in a previous lesson. We can talk about that again a bit later on here. So sometimes a broken line is not actually a broken line. It is connected to another line. So for here, for instance, we have a extra headline. So there is two headlines. That means that there is duality in the mindset. So this person might be practical and creative, or they might actually have two personalities. Here we have what's called a Sydney line. The Sydney line is a headline which covers the full width of the palm. Normally, it would go in a straight line right across. Here is another example, because sometimes it looks like two broken lines, but there's actually branches that connect the headline together. So it is still a Sydney line. It's just a variant of a Sydney line. Here we have what's called a Suwon crease. So it is a line that goes across the whole palm, like where the heart line should go. So very long heart line. It often appears like this, where there are odd lines sticking up. So they appear to be broken lines. The next one is that floating heart line that we talked about. Many people assume that it is a girdle of Venus, and that's fair enough, because they have a very similar meaning, because it brings extra emotion to the character. So the person will be a very emotional person. Where the girdle of Venus normally is up here, where I've drawn. Whereas the floating heart line tends to end where a heart line normally ends, but doesn't start at the same place. So a normal heart line would go up like that, and this one just happens to be disconnected. So that's often common when there is a Simian line or a Sydney line. And lastly, we have the broken lifeline. Like we have talked about this before. So it continues in another section. So it might finish here, but starts again over here. And that shows major change in the person's life. It can be as much as just a mental outlook. So you would look on the headline for any changes on there. If it's an emotional shift, you might have some sort of marks on the heart line. If it's actually relocating, like going abroad to another country, that can also show on the fate line or the other lines as well. And that is the end of that short video.